This meeting to order. So welcome everybody to the Kingsport MPO meeting. Let's go ahead and start with the roll call.
Okay, Vice Chair Chase Milner,
I'm present.
Blake Ayler, Troy Ebert,
Present.
Thomas Lawson,
Present.
Michael Thompson is the proxy for Morris Baker, who is out of town.
Present.
Amber Corbett. Present. We do not have a representative for Hawkins County, Churchill, Mount Carmel. I would like to bring up, I did leave something off of the agenda. I left off the election of the vice chair. So looking at Robert's Rules of Order, we do not approve our agenda. We don't adopt it at the beginning of the meetings, but we can add something to the agenda since this is not something that needs public review. So we could either delay that till the next meeting, or if somebody wants to make a motion that we add it to the agenda, as long as we have majority approval, we can add it to the agenda, and I would add it after the approval of minutes, just so that way if we add something, we do have public comment. And then, so if somebody wants, if y'all want to address it at this meeting, we can add it by motion and second and majority approval.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to add that to the agenda for the election.
Okay. And that motion is to open the elections for vice chair.
To add.
Add to the agenda.
Okay,
Yep.
add to the agenda after the minutes. Okay. We'll do roll call on that.
No, we don't vote by roll call, but just
Just
majority.
voice vote.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against, say nay. Sounds like the ayes have it.
So we'll add it after the approval of minutes.
Okay, sounds good. We will move on to public comment. So those wishing to make a comment pertaining to any of the agenda items or any transportation planning issues, activities, and or projects that pertain to the Kingsport Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization may do so at this time with a 5-minute limitation. So public comment period is open. All right, seeing no public comments, let's go ahead and move to next agenda item, which is the approval of the November 13th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Approve as presented.
Okay. We have a motion to approve as presented by Michael Thompson.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawson. We have a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Thanks. The minutes are approved. And now we're going to open the elections for vice chair for a 1-year term.
Yes, as y'all know, chairman stays the same and vice chair is elected each year, the first meeting of the year. Jimmy Adkins was vice chair forever and ever. And then this past year, Thomas has came on the board in Berlin Wisco as opposed to Jimmy. So last year, Chase was elected as vice chair. So we need to open the nominations for a vice chair for this year.
I make a motion that we keep Chase Milner as the vice chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Can you do roll call or just voice vote? Okay, okay.
Are
Any
you
opposed?
voting or are you abstaining?
Okay, I'll abstain. So, but all in favor said aye, and then any opposed? Okay, I appreciate that. All right, well, thank you. I know these are big.
Assuming you are fine with that. Yeah, I didn't ask for your permission. Well, you've been here a long time, so
Absolutely willing to serve.
thank
And,
you.
So big shoes to fill, but I'll do my best. So let's go ahead and keep moving on to the next agenda item, which is the long-range transportation plan. And I believe our presenter is virtually here
Yes.
with AECom.
Yes, and I'm going to stop sharing. So Jim, can you share your screen?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, and you should be seeing the presentation popping up there.
Not yet. There you are.
Let me just Make sure, let me try this again. Make sure.
There it is. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Meyer with AECOM. I recognize a few of the names from working on the 2045 LRTP a couple of years ago with you. So happy to be back again and working on updating the 2050 LRTP. For today's meeting, what I wanted to do, since we're just really starting to kick off the 2050 LRTP update, is provide an overview, a quick overview of the process. A lot of you have been through this before, maybe a couple times, maybe a few new members that have not. And so we'll give a quick overview, talk about some of the key planning steps, the schedule, the next steps, and then we'll have time for any discussion questions. And then you see at the bottom there, the next agenda item, we will be asking for the committee to, or the board to consider the goals and objectives for approval or adoption for the 2050 LRTP. So the purpose of the LRTP here is really to establish the framework and the vision. And so it is federally mandated, and this plan is updated every 5 years. But more importantly, the plan establishes or lays out the long-term framework for really guiding transportation investment and policy, again, through that planning horizon year of 2050. This is a multimodal plan, so we are looking at all of the various modes you see there, roadway all the way through to technology, and we do look at these different modes independently, but we also are looking at how these modes integrate and come together as a comprehensive transportation system for the region. The plan will address all federal and state requirements, so we want to make sure this is a transparent decision-making process. This aligns with your performance measures, which I believe you may have adopted at the last MPO meeting. And also public stakeholder engagement is a big part of this. And then finally, the plan, a big part of the final plan is that it has a fiscal constraint component, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. And ultimately, this is a regional study that we're focusing in on how we can improve or identify investments that help support mobility, safety, economic vitality, and quality of life. And so from that regional perspective, again, this is for a plan that will be for the whole metropolitan planning area. And you guys are well aware of the members and everything there. But just to kind of put this on the screen and show the next slide here, one of the things that we have had conversation with TDOT planning and the modeling group to just get an understanding of the process and more specifically the timing of how the model will be updated and how that will be used in this effort. And so I wanted to quickly show these two maps on the screen. On the left, you see the traffic analysis zones for the model. That tan area is the metropolitan planning area today. And then you see some lines that go beyond that. That was the metropolitan planning area from the last, the 2045 LRTP. And so some of those areas have shrunk down a little bit. Specifically, you see a lot of that up on the Virginia side. And the graphic on the right, with the 2045 plan, we divided the MPA into 23 sub areas. And so we looked at population and employment projections in those areas. And so one of the things that we're doing now is, because the Tri-City travel demand model is being constructed, we're wanting to make sure we coordinate with that effort and also make sure that we have consistent population and employment projections as part of that. So the key planning steps, I've broken this process down into 4 areas. So goals and objectives, again, we'll be talking about that a little bit more here in the meeting today. But again, this is where we set our vision, and more importantly, we want to make sure that this is aligned with our performance measures. The needs and opportunities, this is where we're looking at assessing the current system as it is today, and then also looking out to the future to 2050. And so this is where our travel demand modeling comes in. And so we can run scenarios, look at where congested areas are, test some potential projects and see how they impact or hopefully improve the situation. We'll go through a project evaluation and that fiscal constraint component. We'll talk a little bit more about this as we go today because we do have a follow-up request on evaluating projects, but we'll go through, we'll screen projects. We want that to be a data-driven effort. We'll coordinate with TDOT and VDOT to identify historical funding and look at projections of what revenue might be available through the horizon year. And then ultimately, we'll identify those fiscally constrained projects, and we'll also talk about an illustrative list of projects. And finally, public and stakeholder engagement is a critical piece that is ongoing throughout this entire effort. And so we'll give you an overview of what's coming up here, but also stakeholder engagement and including updates to the executive board and getting feedback is a vital part of the step or the planning process, I should say. What you see here on the goals from the last time around, we had 3 goals that focused in on livability, sustainability, and prosperity. Again, I want to point out that these goals are taken into consideration with making sure that we're addressing federal law, current federal law, and performance-based planning, also aligning with the TDOT and VDOT statewide LRTPs. And so the image on the right is from the goals that were adopted in the 2045 plan. And in a little bit, we'll be asking you to consider the 2050 goals. They are important as they do establish the foundation really for the analysis that we go through this process. And so as we're just getting underway on this effort, which will continue into May of 27, we'll be utilizing those goals to help guide our evaluation, looking at performance measurements, and then also, again, getting your sign off here and approval of those in a little bit. The needs and opportunities, again, we'll be looking at existing conditions and future conditions. So I did pull some screenshots from the current 2045 plan to just demonstrate what the type of things we'll be looking at. So one of those is looking at network connectivity. So accessibility, support to development, how we can increase access to jobs. So looking at those critical connections, both local and regional connections. Safety is obviously a top priority. And so looking where we have high crash rates, but also concentrating on where we have fatal and serious injuries. And again, this would be consistent with your performance measure targets that you're looking at. And so I did want to share one of the early maps that we've developed. This is looking at crash severity from June 2020 till June 2025. The reason we picked that time frame is with this being a bi-state long-range plan with Tennessee and Virginia. We wanted to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. And so that is the time period where we have data for both TDOT and VDOT. And so you can see on the map, we've mapped where the 72 fatal crashes have occurred over the past 5 years and 345 serious injury crashes as well. So we'll be using this data to analyze it further to kind of hone in on where there might be some potential opportunities or priorities for improvement. We'll look at congestion or travel delay. Again, this is where the model will come into play. And so we'll be able to run some 2050 scenarios that will see if we're showing any issues and test some potential improvements. Traffic operations, and so again, looking at access issues, signal timing issues, those type of things. So more of that ITS technology focus of are there areas that potentially those type of solutions could be applied here. One of the things we did in the last plan, you can see here, we took all of those previous needs and overlaid it onto one graphic, and you'll start to see areas where, for example, the 8126 interchange it has a number of those issues overlapping. And so, again, this is just one way that looking at kind of the roadway and freight components that will start to identify and narrow down improvements. But I don't want to forget that, again, this is multimodal, and so we'll look at the previous issues on public transportation. We'll be reaching out to the various providers and having conversations about those, about the system, what's happening, what improvements have happened over the last 5 years, and make sure we understand how that impacts what we're looking at in terms of the long-term issues and needs for mobility from a public transportation standpoint. Same thing with active transportation. Here's a graphic or a map showing the regional connections that were identified in the last plan. Again, there was an active transportation plan done, and we pulled those key findings into 2045 plan. So again, understanding what's been done since the last plan and what can be done in this next plan to help further advance the vision for active transportation within the region. And we have a couple other maps that I'm not showing here from the 2045 plan, but that just gives you a sense and an overview of what we're looking at. Project evaluation and fiscal constraints. So this really is a process that starts with looking at all of the projects that we have. And so we've been coordinating with Leslie and Michael to take a look at the projects that we had in the 2045 plan and just understand what the status is of those plans. Have they been completed? Have they moved forward? Have pieces of various projects moved forward, or are certain projects no longer really needed or relevant? And so that's part of the process that's going on right now. And what we did in the 2045 plan was we also introduced some measures that were tied back to our goals and objectives. And so when I talked about that data-driven process, this is really where we took these 20 measures and we applied that to all of the projects that you saw on the last screen, and we evaluated those. And so it gave us a score to help us, again, the score isn't the final answer, but it does help us begin to kind of hone in on certain areas or projects to understand which of the projects are going to be the most effective in responding to and addressing those goals and objectives and performance measures that we establish. So as we go through that and we take all of those potential projects and we narrow that down to what our priorities are, we then want to understand what the cost of those projects are and how that compares to our projected revenues that we have through the horizon year of 2050. And so working closely with TDOT and VDOT, we'll go through and begin to look at the project costs. And we will also look at what year we think certain projects are going to be constructed in. And in doing that, we have to apply a year of expenditure cost. So we'll inflate that cost to see, how many projects, or do we need to break some of these projects down into certain phases. And so one of the things we're currently working with Leslie on is to take a look at the fiscally constrained projects and see what's happened in the past 5 years if we need to make some changes there. And then on the right there, we have another graphic that shows illustrative projects. And so These are projects that are not funded, but have some are important that we've identified to address a transportation or mobility issue within the region. And so I like to think of these as kind of a baseball analogy, like the projects on the left are the batters up to at home plate at the take their swings, and then you've got the next batter in the on deck circle. And so those illustrative projects are kind of in the on deck circle, waiting if additional funding becomes available, they can then step up next. Public and stakeholder engagement, again, this is going to be ongoing throughout the process. We are very close on a project website that will be used in Social Pinpoint. It's being used through the TDOT Social Pinpoint platform. We are planning an existing condition survey. We're going to be doing a project preference survey later on when we identify some of those projects and get input from the public. And we are going to be doing some issues mapping. I'll show you a little bit more about that in a minute. We're going to be doing some stakeholder meetings like we did the last time around. On the right, those were some groups that we met with. Safety, for example, we met with local law enforcement, emergency responders. We had some good discussions with healthy communities, with housing representatives in the region. And so while this is a transportation plan, we want to make sure that we're getting a wide range of input into the process. We are planning 3 public events or open houses. So starting to kind of look at the timing of those. And I briefly talked with Leslie earlier today about maybe the first one kind of coordinating that in May with the next MPO meeting. And then, of course, the executive board, again, is a critical partner in this process, and will be providing updates and seeking input and feedback, including plan adoption in May of 27. So the schedule, just to run through this real quickly, we did really just get underway in January, and we've started to get the project set up, doing some data collection. We are going through some plans and reviewing those now, and I've talked about some of the review of the 2045 items that we're coordinating with the staff on. The needs and opportunities, current conditions will continue on really through March. We'll be working on future conditions. Some of that will be including updating the travel demand model. We'll be coordinating with the TDOT staff on that to make sure the model is validated and confirmed. We'll look at project identification and evaluation really in that May to July timeframe. So the next meeting we'll probably come back and share some needs and opportunities, or a summary of that, as well as talk a little bit about the projects. That fiscal constraint component really begins kind of in early fall, late summer, early fall. And then the plan development review process. So we did meet with TDOT to confirm a timeline on this. And just real quickly, what we're looking at is in October, we'll pull the whole draft plan together, review that with the MTPO staff in November, and in December, around mid-December, we're submitting that to TDOT and VDOT for review, and that kicks off our formal review process that will take us into addressing revisions in January, getting approval, and then sending that on for FHWA, FTA review in February, addressing those comments and coming back for putting the plan out for a 30-day public review in March, April timeframe of next year. And then we'll be back here in May of 2027, and that would be when we formally put the plan forward for plan approval. And so on the right, you can see the upcoming board meetings for the rest of the year. We'll plan to provide some updates at those meetings, and then again, the plan adoption in May of 2027. So just to wrap up here real quickly, the next steps. So we are doing data analysis, and I've reached out to TDOT and VDOT on some items here. So I appreciate the feedback on and guidance on some of that. We'll be doing some mapping similar to like the crash data that we have. We've got some other maps we're creating. There may be some additional data requests that we have, and maybe reaching out to different members or partners, maybe some of you in the room here. So the plan review, one thing that I would ask is if you as a partner agency have a planning study or a project that is going on or wrapping up or study that's been recently completed, please let us know or send that information to Leslie. She may already have some of that, but we want to make sure that we're doing a complete and comprehensive review of any studies that are going on, if that's related to, an aviation plan, or if it's related to active transportation, land use, whatever it might be, a comp plan. We want to just make sure we're reviewing all of that information and seeing what's relevant to the long range plan update. I showed this graphic on the right just a few minutes ago. These were the potential projects. And again, Leslie and Michael are reviewing this list now. But I did want to just let everyone know that we will be following up with the jurisdictions, the partners, to share this information probably next week. And we'd like for you to take a look at the list that we send out. If you have updates on projects, if a project's been completed, if a project's no longer valid, let us know. If you see a project cost on there, or you've had a project cost that maybe has been updated in the last 5 years or something, that's the type of information we'd like to gather. And so we won't need this for a few months, but we want to get this on the radar and see if we can collect this information, sooner rather than later. Public engagement. So again, we are using Social Pinpoint. This will be our LRTP website that will be active throughout the plan. We are very close to launching this. The MPO staff is doing a review. We hope to go live next week, and we're going to, when we send out that project review information, either as part of that email or a separate email, we'll provide information on where to access the LRTP. One important part of, or nice feature of Social Pinpoint, you may already be aware of this, but up towards the upper left-hand side, you can see where it says English. People can convert this to other languages, translate it to other languages real quickly. So it does provide access to a wide audience. The website is going to include a brief survey that will have some questions about existing conditions. But you see at the bottom there, we're also going to have an interactive mapping feature. People will be able to drop pins on the map by various modes. And so if somebody has a concern about a bicycle issue, they can drop a pin on there and provide information. And so you're able to zoom in on there, get right down to the location. You can actually enter an address as well. So there will be instructions for the public to go through that. And so we would like you to, when you do get that website, to please distribute that to your various social media sites, email groups, distribution groups that you have, newsletters, those type of things. So that's a quick overview of the process, and I will turn it back over to the Vice Chair if there are any questions or discussion.
Great, thank you, Jim. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Jim, Mayor?
Hey, Jim, this is Troy. When's the online going live in the website? And then when are we looking at our first series of public meetings? I'm assuming this summer.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. So the website, we've been building that and had shared a draft with the MPO staff earlier this week. We've got a few comments back. We're hoping to have the website finalized next week and be able to share that address and have you guys go ahead and send that out. The other thing, Troy, is we have a draft public engagement plan that really kind of lays out the whole process. Actually, I was updating that or reviewing it earlier this week, and that's something we're going to share that version with Leslie and Michael here soon, and you know that will be shared with you as well, and get a chance to take a look at that. And then to your question, Troy, about meetings. We did part of one of the things I wanted to do in looking at the public engagement plan was just reevaluate our timing of possible meetings based upon when the TDOT review would begin in December. And so just actually before the call earlier this morning, I brought up to Leslie the possibility of maybe looking at our first public open house in May to coordinate that with possibly the next MTPO meeting to see if we could maybe coordinate an in-person meeting with you to an update to present some information, but then also utilize that time to have our first public meeting. So that's still early, Troy. I think, you know, we need to confirm that with Leslie and Michael, but that's kind of our thought right now.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure.
Right. Any other questions or discussion? Okay.
Just overarching, what is the timeline of completion? We might have
For the-
discussed this for the plan itself.
For the whole the complete timeline?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's really the looking at the bottom of this slide here,
Okay.
and
You
kind of
have to
working.
lean the slide or lean back, so I apologize. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's, you're fine. You're so the 2045 plan was adopted in May of 2022. And so May 12th, possibly, if I recall correctly. But so we are working backwards basically from that date to make sure we have that plan adopted on or before, or I think maybe I can't recall if we were looking at a day or two after that. But anyways, the plan will be adopted in May. So really the draft plan is going to be ready by November. So as we go through and we prepare like the needs and opportunities, there are going to be various memos that we're pulling together that will become part of the appendices to the final plan. And so, you know, we'll be taking things like the needs and opportunities, so those existing conditions, future conditions. You know, those will be memos that we'll be drafting here over the next few months, but ultimately, May of 27 is when the plan will be adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay, well, with that being said, I think we can move to the consideration of approval for this goals and objectives. You'll see in the our packet, agenda item 5, the draft is presented to the executive board today for approval.
Tim, is this your last slide?
It is, Leslie. Yep.
If you want to stop sharing, I'll pull the agenda back up so that will be bigger on the screen.
Okay, perfect. Did it stop, Leslie?
No, but I think I
sorry.
can.
Hold on. There we go. Sorry.
Okay.
Too many screens. All right. It should be stopped.
So these are the same, the ones for the 2045 that he had up earlier, there was like three different items in red. Those were the things that were changed for the 2045 plan. With this one, the only thing that was changed is the word equitable was removed, just because that's one of those hot topic words right now. So these are the exact same as the 2045 minus the word equitable. So if you all have any suggestions, I mean, if you're okay with this, and adopt them as is. If you have any suggestions, anything you think needs to be added, taken out, whatever. Or any questions?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Thanks again for the presentation, and we're on to item 6 for Randy Busler, Region 1,
Let me get
TDOT
his,
presentation.
get his, Blake, we pass that microphone down to Randy. If you'll push the button to make that little circle green, so it's on.
I don't think I need that, but I'll do it. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Most of y'all, I think, know me, but if you don't, my name's Randy Busler. I work for TDOT's Project Management Division. I'm the manager of our program projects. And Troy had approached me about kind of giving you an overview about the program side. Most of what you all hear about with the department when we talk about the project management side is our big stuff, our legislative, our highway program, which is as one of my former coworkers said, used to call them the big honking projects. But these are the smaller projects, but they're very effective and they're very popular among the communities. So just kind of giving you kind of an overview. About in the 2022, we went through as what we call the epic business changes, and also did integrated project delivery, or IPD. Several people in this room have sat on some project teams, I think, or a few of y'all have. You've heard a lot of these terms before, but basically what that is, that just kind of project management has brought together project teams to deliver these projects. And we're working through what we now call the project delivery network, which basically allows us to more efficiently deliver our projects. A lot of what you've heard has been about the 10-year plan. Based on the program side of things, we deal in 3-year plans. Every plan we have is a 3-year plan. And as you can see here, our teams, you've got a project manager on every team, and up here at the top of that section up there at the top, that could be your potential team members. And depending upon the type of project, you're sort of co-manager on the project, just so to speak. Those are those heavier stars on the line there. Like for payments, you might have a pavement designer and resurfacing in the program too with SIAs. You're going to have roadways going to be your lead. For safety, you're going to have traffic. A lot of times our roadway guys doing that too. And then for bridge, structures always leads on the bridge program. So this is our new roadmap. This is how we get from beginning to end on a project. Now, I'm not going to go over that, but because there's a lot of pieces and parts. But I will say one of the great parts about this was built in. I can't remember. I think we've talked about it multiple times amongst ourselves, but we used to have this really long task sheet of how a project got from beginning to construction. It had like 180 steps or something like that. It was a very long situation, and where all activities acted independently. Like we had a context and scoping, or you have your context and scoping, or basically you get a concept report. All right, all that's done by the concepts division. Then you move into, all right, you move into environmental, NEPA, and we're getting NEPA's approvals and all of that. They worked in their silo. You move over to design, they're working in their silo. They're distributing that to other areas, but they're kind of working in their silo and getting on their timeline. Right of way works on their timeline. Permits works on their timeline. This was developed to give us some flexibility in the delivery of the projects, and it allows for overlapping activities. And it's, and each project is its own entity. I mean, we can try to we follow this path from beginning to end on every project, but we may not have to do every step. And some places we might be able to combine steps. But that's one of the great things about this, is it's given us that flexibility to do that moving forward. Yeah.
Can't go into design until you have your NEPA. So you actually get that letter that says notice to proceed.
I mean, it basically what it has done with us now is that we go through, we used to have, like, we call it initial study set of plans, and that's what was kind of developed, and that was taken kind of off the concept report to develop something for our NEPA, our environmental folks, our NEPA folks to use to get that. All right, now we've moved more towards, we've kind of wrapped our concepts area into that stage one. This is, and so they're getting that information earlier. And we've gone to what we say now is a line and grade set, is our initial set of plans instead of those initial studies. But they're a little bit more involved set of plans, which allows us to do a lot more than we used to. We can start doing title searches. We can start doing some other things off of those line and grade plans that we couldn't do before. But that does get the process started. We're trying to get the process started earlier.
You're asking about locally managed projects, right?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
They are not working under this just yet.
I
Okay,
think the answer is they're not doing it yet, but I don't.
okay. These are
They're
just TDOT managed.
these are just TDOT managed
Gotcha.
projects right now.
Okay,
Local programs, I might be able to touch on them a little. I can't really speak for them a whole lot because they first told us we were going to have some involvement with local programs. Then they sort of backed off of that. And in a minute, I'll tell you why. But right here, projects in Region 1, just Troy kind of came up with this for me just to kind of show you just a lot of things that we've got going on here. This is just a spot on our website, show you where you can go to look at all of our projects. Of course, I've mentioned this before, you've got the two divisions, highways and programs. These are the programs that I currently have. We've got, of course, our bridge program, our safety program, our resurfacing, which we've renamed pavements because they wanted to bring in concrete and everything else. So we've just a terminology thing, but I still call it resurfacing myself. Unstable slope, rock slides. I think y'all got a rockfall project up here now on I-26 up here. And then, of course, our SIA program, that's the State Industrial Access, Economic Development Projects. Your Eastman project currently under development up here right now, that falls in that category. I will tell you that I have a couple of other areas that we're looking at. We were talking, kind of joking about this at lunch, but the program side has kind of become a catch-all. So we have picked up on a lot of miscellaneous. We've got a miscellaneous projects, which are, most of them are kind of safety related or signal upgrades. They're your PMI 33 projects. We do have a handful of local local programs jobs. We've got 3 right now that the department agreed to manage that are in this, and you, Michael's, you've got one of those. So, and we've got those, a lot of, you remember, you heard a lot of reference a couple of years ago to carbon reduction funds. It's projects that have come out of the carbon reduction program. We're doing a lot of those. High mass lighting, we're doing some lighting upgrades. So those are some of the types of projects we're doing on the miscellaneous, other than, and anything else that doesn't necessarily fit in one of those categories. And in July of this year, we will be taking on our bridge repair program as well. So we'll be taking that over. So it's up here on the screen, you can see on our website, we have our 3-year bridge program. Of course, that particular listing up there right now is for 26 to 28. Our 27 to 29 plan, we're anticipating that to be released sometime in late spring. So you'll be seeing a new listing with, and I guess just to kind of talk about how we come up with our 3-year plans, because a lot of folks have asked. There's been a lot of changes, over the years. Many of y'all know I handled the pavement stuff here. I've been doing that for a long time. And a lot of that was just regionally based. I went out, I work with our maintenance folks and our construction folks, and we developed a paving list. We also had data provided to us from our asset management office and our pavement office. All of that has changed now. We have gone more to it. We are a much more data-driven agency now than we ever have been. And so, and just talking about the pavements, our asset management office is now selecting our routes. They are presenting that to our pavement office, which is managed under our materials and test division. And they are in turn getting with our districts, our operations folks in our districts, and going over that list and vetting that list to see if it makes sense, if they agree. And then they kind of go through a couple of iterations and go through a process to come up with what projects that they want to do. And then they send that over to us and we program them and deliver them. Bridges are moving much in that same direction, although it's not as much input from our local operations folks, as our structures division is now working with asset management, and they're really going to be taking a hard look at a data-driven approach to deliver these bridges. I'm not exactly sure what all that looks like yet. This has been something that's kind of been in the works, but our new plan is supposed to be coming out, like I said, later on the spring, which will say a lot. Of course, there's been a lot of discussion. Everybody knows about funding. You hear a lot of talk about funding for bridges and funding for all our roads.
Are all the 3-year plans released at the same time?
Yes. Well, no, I'll take that back. Sorry. The paving plan is actually already been released. It was released in January. The remaining plans will all be released roughly around the same time, which would be sometime in April. So
Figure out the data-driven program for bridges, y'all bridge reports. Y'all do,
Yeah.
y'all inspect our bridges as well.
Uh-huh.
We had a methodology and then the number got taken.
Hmm.
To do part of that approach. I assume that's because we didn't want to share that number anymore.
right.
But, love that.
I know our asset management division is much larger now than it ever has been. And we've got a pavement expert in there that worked with our pavement office previously, and like I said, they're working with our structures division right now to try to manage out how they're going to rate, how they're going to break these bridges out into tiers or how they're going to do it. I think we've been looking at them in different tiers and everything. So it's pretty interesting approach, but then I sit back and I just wait and they just tell me which ones they want us to deliver. So, unstable slope program. This is a program that Region 1 and Region 2 are blessed with a lot of hills and a lot of slopes. And so we get the bulk of this. Region 3 and Region 4 do not. But my counterpart just called me not long ago and he said, I've got an unstable slope project. And he said, I've never had one of these before, never seen one. I said, I didn't realize you had any slopes that big. So, but that's something that we're kind of working on. And that's basically our geotech division drives that one. Of course, right there's our miscellaneous program. We also, another thing that we do that the department has through MOUs now is all public roads and state parks are now considered state routes. So if it's a public road, it's a part of the park. If it's initially park property, then we maintain them. There's a fine line there. I know we've had that discussion about, Warriors Path up here. There's been some questions about what we do maintain and what we don't. But with that being said, we also are going to be doing road construction work in the parks as well. Right now, currently, we have a bridge replacement from Hurricane Helene in Rome Mountain State Park, and we're building a new access road to Rocky Fork State Park up in Unicoi County. So. She no longer does. They've left her on here for safety. Because I guess technically she's still going to be the point of contact for now. We have consulted out the safety program a little bit. They're more managing it. She's going to be a contact, a TDOT contact. She is the contact for SIAs. And the SIA program, that is the only program that is not published. We do not put that 3-year plan on a website. And that's due to the fact that it's so economically driven. Things are so volatile that if you need to know anything about an SIA, you just call me. And,
These are just showing the different websites for each program.
yes,
This one, that pavement processes on what kind of he was talking about earlier and how we get to on selection of something.
The SIA program, what's the typical from start to finish? That if they qualify.
if they qualify.
Mhm,
Once they're fit into the program, of course, that's a limited funded program.
mhm.
Once they're fit in, we've been trying to deliver those around 3 years from start to finish. But one thing we have learned, you heard me talk about the legislative or the highway program. Depending on the size of the SIA, some of these SIAs can be as hard to deliver as far as time frame as a highway program project because of a lot of it's driven by right of way. Just the number of tracks and how long it takes to secure that. Because there's a lot of time involved with getting right of way.
But if the developer owns all the land, like in an industrial park, then
Typically, if it's a donated parcel, it makes it run a whole lot faster.
gotcha.
Yes, if they donate the property, then it operates a whole lot quicker because we take that out. But also with that though, if there's utilities, we also have by law, we have a year we have to coordinate utilities. So there's a lot of time built into some of these that we just can't get around.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buzzer, for your presentation.
Yeah, anybody got any more questions?
Yeah, say, here are some of the lists And that's just one, that's an example of the resurfacing list. If you click on it, and all those websites, if you click on that top link, it'll take you in and then you can search it by county and has some information on it. And these are the couple in Sullivan County here that would be somewhat applicable or applicable to this MPO that I threw in here for them.
There's one that's I-26 will also be resurfaced this
That-
year.
From Stone Drive to the.
Stone
Welcome
Drive to the Welcome Center.
Okay. What's that, about 4.5 miles?
Sounds about right.
5. Now, is that do the rest of it going north to what's not the interstate,
Mhm.
technically past state route or past the exit ramp up to
Up the
Virginia?
Virginia line,
Yeah,
that's State Route 137. It's not, I haven't seen it on plans
okay.
in a while.
The interstate project address any ramps coming off the interstate?
Yes. We have included anywhere where you have asphalt on the ramp. I think there's been some specific questions about Wilcox. We are showing that we're going to repave those. So,
As far as resurfacing in the area, we're also doing Interstate 81, Washington County, correct, to the Sullivan County line? Okay,
In the agenda packet, I did put links to each of the websites, even if it was, there was something for the economic development, state industrial access, and the highway program, which is the 10-year plan. So I just went ahead and put links to all those.
but the actual 3-year plans are published on there, and there was a date on there. I think they're all published here in late January. If you have a question about it, call Randy.
I actually think my name is on the website on some of these.
You did.
So, if anybody needs any information, just give me a call.
So just so y'all know, with his programs, with his team, he meets with every one of those programs on a quarterly basis. And I've been invited to some of those now, or I'm invited to all of them. And get some updates, that sort of thing. So if I see something that flags specific and that it's good, public information to be able to share with y'all where we're at, I've been trying to get that information to y'all. Like this list here, if we have the Fort Robinson Bridge, if something big comes up on that, and I know we're gonna go to construction next week, then it's like, hey, guess what? And that's been extremely helpful for me, but I've also keep the spreadsheet. So if we come into a meeting like this, and this is for any of them, and there's hey, what's going on whatever, there's a chance that in a minute I'll be able to pull that information up and share it. And it's from his somewhat, his growing group of project managers that has working for him. And continuously growing group.
Right. I think next agenda item is for project updates from our partners. So we'll start with federal highways. If we have any federal contacts here.
Oh,
Kara, we're trying to get you promoted so you can speak if you have any updates for Federal Highway. She's online. So is there anything else from TDOT?
I'll give you a couple updates while you're trying to get that in. Excuse me. So we do have lots of TDOT planning folks with us today. From the top down, minus Preston, the bureau chief, but Matt Meservi's here, our director, our manager, Stacy is down here, and Anne Marie, our MPO team lead, is also here. So if you have any questions, got lots of folks here to be able to help you with those. But a couple things on the planning side as far as updates. We are about to kick off our full TDOT long range plan and get that up and running underway. Be on the lookout for that. As far as planning grants go, this is the most popular question I get all the time. The planning grants are still under final review. Those are going over to the commissioner's office for the finalization, and then hopefully we'll have award letters for too long. I do not have a definitive date on that as of today. And did want to mention that You know, our commissioner already has gone through our budget process and gave that to the governor. The governor talked about that a little bit. If you listen to the state of the state the other day, he asked for an additional 400 million on top of our normal budget for projects, to be able to move project forward. And there was also a focus on the rest areas within Tennessee on, because we have several of them that need updated, and we actually have a few that are closed. We need to get those up and running for our motoring public and definitely our freight. But that's kind of our focus we've been looking at. SPP information that will come out probably April-ish as well. State partnership program, we're still looking at that. Of course, once the budget is passed, it kind of all goes together with that. So those are the big updates that I had. Matt, did you have anything else, sir? Stacy, Anne Marie, anything else? Any other words of wisdom? Ta-da.
You said, Matt, the transportation planning grants, those are kind of imminently to be done. Okay.
I do have, so this is a Stacy question, I guess, for the moment. Those will be awarded and those will have 12 months to go through, correct? That's still the plan? For planning grants? Yeah. So if they're awarded, say, March 1st, will they be able to go through March 1st, the next year?
I'll go up to 16.
Okay, gotcha.
We've been running about a 2-year cycle on those because they don't always run 12 months. So that's why.
Sounds good. That's all I have from TDOT.
Kara with Federal Highway is on the meeting. Kara, okay, yeah, you've unmuted. You wouldn't have any updates for Federal Highway?
Hey, good afternoon. Kara Greathouse, planner with FHWA. I don't have any updates. I think I did provide Troy one quick update that was about the build grants. Those applications are due February 24th if you all plan to submit anything. And then other than that, I've reviewed your annual listing of obligated projects and your UPWP annual report, and everything looks good. So I appreciate you having these virtual meetings so that I can attend, since the commute from Charleston, West Virginia to Kingsport's a little long. Thanks.
With the West Virginia Federal Highway Division, and they're helping out Tennessee, so. Okay, VDOT, you got anything? Linwisco? RPO?
Sure. So RPO, we have our upcoming spring meeting is going to be on May 12th at 10 a.m. at the District 17 Training Auditorium room where it's been in the past. So hope that works with everyone's schedules that's coming in from out of town. And also I had an interesting interview with the TASSER team earlier this week about trying to think about innovative funding solutions for transportation funding. If anyone has ideas that they wish to share with the TASSER research team, I'm happy to get you connected to them. They're trying to get a report together for the state by about September of this year. So happy to do that. And also we have a regional trails meeting. Came up when looking at that active transportation programming. If anyone is interested in a regional trails discussion, our bike ped liaison with the technical committee of RPO is putting together a meeting on February 25th at the ETSU Foundation Conference Room in the West Walnut Street, the General Mills building there. So that's going to be happening. And I can also provide some additional details in an email to anybody about that. So just wanted to put those meetings on people's agendas. That's it.
Yeah, if you will, I don't know, I'm showing my age, but I don't know if you all ever remember the SAGA, Southern Appalachian Greenways Alliance which was Southwest Virginia, Northeast Tennessee. We actually won a governor's award for our master plan. a regional trails plan, back in 2006, I think. Kitty Frazier was a big thing, Roy Settle, lots of folks who've retired or moved on. I seem to still be stuck around here, but but we were really proud of it. And we, GPSed all the trails, and it was basically just to support all the communities and to encourage connectivity. And a lot of projects got done, you know. But I'm sure some of those folks are no longer in their current positions, but I would be glad to share that. Because it's sort of a baseline. And I realize this is just for our district and not Southwest Virginia, but of course, trails don't know boundaries, and so political boundaries. But anyway, yeah, keep me posted on that because I would love to attend and sit in and a lot of mapping. It was done by a grant through TDEX Park and Rec. Yeah, so it kind of a really cool project. But anyway, I'm glad you're doing that. Needs to be done.
More of a welcome. Look at things that don't see boundaries.
Mm-mm.
Always been the conversation if the Kingsport Greenway made it down into Bristol and that could get tied into the Mendota Trail. Well, regionally, if that starts to become a question and that conversation, I think we're going to be
And a lot of our trails are in rural areas for the potential for trail connectivity. These small towns don't have the resources or even staff they may not even have a planner. So I think this is a great thing to pick this back up. And I think putting it under RPO is a smart move.
Kingsport had a study as well, a general, very high level study going up 11, connected through the county property there in the middle to connect the current green belt with Stew Creek.
Pretty Creek.
Yep.
Lots of opportunity. Thanks. Sorry.
Fun.
We'll stay tuned. Get it.
Well, and Bristol's working on their multimodal plan. So get all them tied together.
Okay.
Christopher, you have anything for county? Updates for county? Transit agencies. You want to come up to the mic?
Good afternoon. I just have a few quick points, and CATS is doing very, very well. One thing we're really excited about is Monday, we are hosting in here a training day for all of our drivers. And that's exciting because we never get together as a group like that. So we've got Bill Parsons coming in. He's going to be doing some training on de-escalation and customer service. And we were able to work with Bill back in August. And so we were very impressed with him. So he'll be coming back to do training for our group on Monday. And transit is closed that day. So it's just a good opportunity for us to get together as a group and do that. So we'll also be going over wheelchair training and things dealing with routes. So another thing that we're doing is we're in the process of purchasing 3 cutaway buses right now. So we are very close to making that happen. We will be replacing vehicles in our fleet. Our CATS Connect service is doing very well. Our numbers last month were in the mid 700s. So that service is still really taking off and doing well. People are seemingly liking that. And then lastly, we did have a really nice donation from Grace Point Fellowship Church, a local church here in town, and they donated $1,000. They do something called Love Your City Week, and so they wanted to donate that to CATS. And so next week we will be offering, that will sponsor all 4 days for bus routes. So all of those days will be free. And then we're going to have a couple of days on the vans that will be free as well. So yeah. Yep. Thank you.
It trans.
Afternoon, everyone. Oh, my name is Ashley Jenkins. I'm with NetTrans. I just have a few things to discuss. We just started our comprehensive operational analysis. That is with TDOT and CD Smith, which is a 3-day event that's happening right now. So it's been a little hectic around the office. So we're excited to see what they come up with and any new ideas for operations and compliance, which is mainly what they're doing. They picked 9 different transit agencies across the state of Tennessee. So we were lucky that we got picked for one of them. We also was awarded back in December with the TDOT Improve Grant. So we were super excited about that. We got that to purchase new software for our fleet. So as soon as we get the contract on that, we'll get that rolling this summer is what I'm suspecting. And then we also have our annual driver's training on safety and procedures on February 21st. So just starting out the new year, a little busy. Thank you. We're doing faster. Yep. So I think it's a sister of Eco Lane company, but we did a lot of research on it, and I think Murfreesboro also has it too. So they gave a lot of input that has a lot of great benefits. Yep.
How's your new ride share with the light or the
Micro
Mustang?
transit. Oh,
How's
it's
that
doing
work?
really good. I personally live in Elizabethton, so that's where the last one that we launched
Right.
there. And it was a little slow at first, but we've really been getting out in the community, and we're pushing about 300 trips a month right now.
In Elizabethton or
In
system-wide?
Elizabethton.
Wow.
I'm not sure what the data is on Greenville.
Okay.
Because I've been mainly following Elizabethton, but I could let you know.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff.
Yes, yes.
Kind of goes along with what Candace was talking about with the all the micro transit, and I think it's named very similar to each other.
Yeah.
So,
It's really cool though, because I've lived in Elizabeth my whole life, so we don't have anything like that.
right,
So
huge.
the community has really been excited about it. And my daughter's goes to TCAT. So she's been helping to advocate and getting
Right.
that out there. And a lot of the younger kids are actually using it. So great.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, projects. So TDOT projects.
We got a little something going on Memorial this week, don't we? Or is that coming up soon? We've actually watched for Memorial. That project's gonna restart. They actually had their pre-construction meeting that last week. I think it was last week. So I believe they're gonna start putting traffic control up in March is what I saw on that one. And from this point, kind of moving forward, Michael Dick will be our contact on that, and Carmen Garberry. Because they'll be doing he will be dealing with the project management on the actual construction section. That's the big one. Anything new while Randy's here, because about everything else is yours.
Slope stable. I haven't heard.
Right.
Yes, that would be more than
We'll be closing the lane on that. Do you remember? Okay. It's 3 lanes anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a discussion when we heard his concern since it was just declining.
Right.
About Fort Robinson Bridge.
State Route 1 West Stone Drive, that is actually a accelerated delivery project with Jason, correct? Jason Schultz. Yeah. Now, since we got you here, so everyone knows, when it comes to alternative delivery, because I see another project management side, how does that work in with you and John?
I hear you.
Okay.
I mean, we all work for profit.
Right.
Alternative delivery is kind of its own entity because they do a lot more. I mean, they don't just, they oversee the construction and everything typically with the alternative delivery stuff. So it's it's very fast paced, very innovative, and, I mean, it was a lifesaver for Helene with those bridges, I will tell you.
Will the locals be involved? Like, I understand it's different, but will we still be following some form of PDN?
Yes, it's a very modified form, but it's PDN. That one is it design build? CMGC, yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah, I think I heard them saying that they were looking at a contractor. That one's an interesting bridge. That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah.
I've talked with my co-manager our manager over the alternative delivery, and he's like, "Woo." He said, "That one's fun." I said, "Why do we think you gave it to you?" So,
On the memorial project, that's the first set of baby pins I was talking about, the 0304s.
mhm.
We had, of course, we're still working on the State Route 93 improvements out on the west side, working with utilities and getting that up and running. They were doing some blasting and a few things, but that project's coming along. I'll have to get a better update on that one from our construction group, but which is still Michael and in the actual local District 17. But that's where we're at with those. ITS expansion on 81. Right now, when that came up, and I've been asked about this a couple of times on ITS, and I'm trying to figure out exactly where it's going on because everything was in the 10-year plan. It's not in the 10-year plan, but we're still trying to find out where the ITS programs are and what we're going to do as far as with those proceeding. I haven't heard anything specific about ITS. And we were working with y'all on one too. Have you heard anything from our side on it? Okay, so it's been crickets for a little bit. Because we were gonna do kind of like what y'all did, to get up past the airport, there's a nice message board up there that doesn't look like the rest of them. That's Virginia's. And so we're looking at overlap so we can have a message board in Virginia when they're entering into Tennessee, give them some heads up before they get here. But
Yeah, that project was supposed to go from Interstate 26 to Exit 3 in Virginia.
correct.
But it's also an Improve Act project too, so.
And because we already have part of it, we do have some ITS in the Kingsport area, along Interstate 81 only. But we've been, both MPOs here in Johnson City have been asking for it on I-26. Now, on the I-26, part of ITS is more than just cameras. That also includes our help truck service and a few things like that. Now they have launched a help truck light or a help truck service. We have been doing one as a pilot program in District 17. It has gone very well. And Region 2 and it was, I think 3 was the 2 regions that they're starting with. Region 1, we're looking at doing that this sometime around Memorial Day-ish is when we should start seeing those. They're going to be the bright green or bright yellow trucks. They are not the big box truck like what we have in Knoxville, but there's going to be a pickup truck, big aero board. I've seen a picture of it. So we're going to see more of those. And the light version is under contract. It's a outside. They look like TDOT and they smell like TDOT. Like with Virginia, with your alls, but they're not actually TDOT specific employees. But they will be providing the incident management, helping with traffic, helping with crashes, disabled vehicles, stuff like that along all the rural interstates. So that's 81 and 26, and 40, the whole way across the state. But Region 1, I believe, we were looking at early summer for that to be rolled out. So keep an eye out for those trucks. I'm sure Mark and our CROs there'll be some news coverage on some of that stuff.
It would just be interesting.
Yes, that's my understanding. That's all I've got. Unless did you have anything on the SIAs? Nothing new.
Local projects, Michael?
Theoretically, share my screen. So we, so we have, on the City of Kingsport's main web page, you go there and there's a project map page, and before every board meeting, so basically every 2 weeks, we update our projects now, and they're available to the public on a map here. So I just wanted to show that it's available. West End Greenbelt, we're in the right-of-way phase. We're in the process of getting appraiser and review appraisers, as well as we sent out the letters of notices of proposed acquisitions. Where we're on that one, on the let's see here, Brickyard pedestrian bridge, we'll have a design is underway. We have plans. Those will be preliminary right-of-way plans. Is that right, Jason? That'll be submitted later this week or month. For that's where we're at with that one. And this Island Road is also in the right-of-way phase. And so that one, if you remember, that's the one that a few months back we changed to a resurfacing project. And then we've got 3 other resurfacing projects going on. The Clinchfield and Eastman Road, we're in the right-of-way phase on it. The Meadowview Parkway, we are waiting to start design. We have the notice to proceed, but we're waiting on the work order for the consultant on that one. And then we've got the Orbank Road, which is a resurfacing, but it also has some intersection improvements, specifically at Exchange Place and at Chestnut Ridge Road that we're going to be doing there. But yeah, I think that and I would say the SIA, we have a plan. Still got to get used to the PDN plan in hand meeting March the 10th at Region 1 for that one. So I think that one's still on track for a late summer letting of 26. Yeah. So as far as I know, that's still good. We need to talk about that the Colonial Heights sidewalk project. I mean, it is just trying to fit a sidewalk project into the TDOT mold. It's to the point where we need to know what we need to do to tell y'all to cancel that project. I guess it's. Mm-hmm. We have a meeting. With Steve Allen and King Brown next week. Discuss the project moving forward, because what we had requested, they take care of the funding for the project. Yeah. So we wanted them to go back and look at it, and then let us know what we can do, so we can come back to y'all. So I'll be expecting that we'll probably come back to y'all probably next week. Okay. Hopefully with that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then I guess the only other one I had questions on was Rock Springs Road. Is there any update on that? They're at 347. Haven't heard any. I guess the question, and it goes all the way back to the long range plan question, is how are we supposed to address projects moving forward? Where do we put those projects of TDOT's that were improve act promises that are not in the 10-year plan? Is it fair to put them in the committed bucket? Guess I'm looking at you, Stacy. I don't know. You looked up, so it's his.
They should be in your plan.
Well, obviously, but should it be in the the,
No identified.
They can't.
that's gonna be an interesting, yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
there, but if there's no funding tied, then can't really.
So the plan's longer than 10 years. So to say there's not money, are y'all saying that anything outside the 10-year plan is going to need to be in the illustrative category? You see what I'm saying? Because that's never the way we've done a long range plan before.
If it's but can't say in any way, shape, or form. If it's a local, you could be like, hopefully this, or, you know, we're gonna hope that it can come back. But if it's a TDOT-led project,
I understand, but that's not the question. I'm asking which bucket does it need to be in the long range plan? And
If you're trying to put it here,
well, we have existing and committed projects is your first tier. I hear you say it can't be in that one. That makes sense. It is committed. It's in legislation. It's just not funded, right? But typically when you do a constrained list, you know, that goes all the way out to the year. We project funding even on the TDOT projects out to 2050. So I guess I would hope we can agree that it'll be done. Anything that's in the Improve Act would be done by 2050. So it should be in the constrained plan. I would hope. Yeah. Yeah.
I think there was an expectation that they would be done quickly. Placed in schedules that seems to have been. And so, as your plan requires you to have federal funds that are not necessarily yours, you know, TDOT funds that you're on. You either leave them as a pot of money, program money, or you base these improvements, these improvement projects on the need for that improvement in whatever year you want to put it in. Attach a dollar amount to it, but know that that's not necessarily where the money is going to be spent, or even if it's there's really only two options. One is to have a big pot of money, allocated federal dollars that are TDOT's funds, where you determine the project will fit. Hopefully they align, but there could be amendments down the line. So we could. I just think that it's.
Yeah, this is going to come up with, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, I was just, everybody's updating their plans. I just wanted to know how y'all told them to do it, and so that we would do it the same way, you know? Yeah.
That troublesome that put the project is not sponsored or TDOT project. With federal dollars of TDOT money. And that's not exactly where people are thinking, and it creates like an issue that is hard to overcome. I think what we're trying to show is that there's a need for improvements on state route. And TDOT has to the next year.
who advised you could do projects.
Yeah, because we have so much money.
What do you mean? You're saying the local, you're talking about the local paying for state route projects? This,
Nashville has some. Not active projects. They don't want to remove them from their plan. They kept them, I'm not sure which years they're putting them in, but they're changing, instead of saying TDOT sponsor, it's saying MTPO.
It ain't happening.
yeah, there's no local appetite for taking something that the state promised to do in a 15-year period and move it to the locals. We don't have extra funding either.
Thing that we look at in the long range plan, and we can correct it if I'm wrong, try to develop some guidance on this topic because
You're gonna have it, yeah, everybody's gonna have it.
putting that in the 20-year period, being out. We don't have anything in it.
I hear you, they all are on year 11. Got it.
Well, and like Matt was saying, if you put something like, hey, this is gonna happen in 15 years. And then like, you know, 2030, we're getting this, and then, you know, 2020.
Right.
And they're like, just kidding.
Now we. Lot harder. We honestly are operating years. Improve ag, if I can jump in, I've just got some curiosity questions. Now, past timeframe that was. There was an.
There was a promise made, but it wasn't legislatively.
And that's where I think.
It got amended up.
Me, board member sitting here and also the county. The Improve Act came out and promised citizens that this big list of projects across the state of Tennessee was going to get funded in a timely manner. And we're still jockeying and talking about all these projects that have no dates, timeframes, or anything associated with them. And from the public citizen standpoint, they're saying, what are we doing? And we keep talking about them and pushing it further and further and further and further down the road. I just think it's a tough thing to be asked, and I get asked that question a lot. I'm sitting on the MTPOs. The majority of the 10-year plan contains so, but it doesn't have the 962 that.
I think some guidance material would be really welcome. And if TDOT can put something that all MPOs or statewide can use as a reference, because I'm sure we're not the only ones having this discussion, and hate to put anyone on the spot like today, but some guidance materials is, on TDOT letterhead would be really well received, because we have to take these conversations back to our county commission and county mayor for me. So I don't want to speak out of turn. It's better to have something, even if it's vague, at least something to hang our hat on. So when we develop this 2050 plan, which we have until next May to adopt, we'll know how to wordsmith. Thank you.
Any other, thanks for this helpful discussion. And I think that we'll wrap up today's meeting. There's a motion to adjourn. All right. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.